day, Ma'am Elenita Cortez. I am Abdullah Norcaiza from BSEd English, Section 3A. In this video, I will going to differentiate the communication and expression according to Dr. Hermino Abad. According to him, that communication conveys one's things and feels at the moment of speech with other speakers, while in expression it talks about one's shapes in language to one's of perception and institutions about some aspects of feature of reality, whether the reality has been actually been lived or has only been imagined. Next, why do English teachers want to privilege Filipino teacher wrote in English as a model of good writing? As a future teacher of English, we want to privilege Filipino literature wrote as a models of good writing precisely because one of the culture and experience from which these points arise our own history as a people. And define the literature in 2 sentences. So first of all, literature is any collections of written work, but it is used more narrowly for writings specifically considered to be an art of form, especially prose fiction, drama, poetry, and including printing and digital writings. And also, can also have a social, psychological, spiritual, or political role of literature. Next is give the importance of literature in 21st century in 6 sentences. So, first is to express people's culture. It expresses people's life and culture they have from one generation to another. And literature, like language, is an element of culture. Number 2 is to develop language. Literature uses language, so it means if develop our language because it improves a particular languages and involves the 4 languages skills such as writing, listening, speaking, and reading. It is also improve vocabulary and grammar. And to gain, number 4 is to gain knowledge and information. From reading a different literature, we can acquire more knowledge and information from different aspects and can learn and understand a different cultures, traditions, practice, and beliefs. Number 5 is to influence the people in the society. Literature also designed to influence people by instilling in the revolutionary ideas and different ways of thinking, especially those positive and sustainable ideas. Number 6 is to educate people. Literature can educate the people on existing social, political, and economical systems. Next is number 5, explain the functions of literature in society. Literature helps us to form our own vision of beauty. It pleasantly situated us to inform us for our changing our behavior in the society and attitude towards the people. Next is literature enlighten the awareness of the readers to learn from different aspects of life. Next is literature helps you to think clearly, write clearly, and speak clearly. Clarity of thoughts and expression is a virtue which should be cultivated. Next is literature gives one better understanding of human nature and the complexity of the human condition. Literature educated people in the society through literary works are used to impart knowledge to the members of the society. Number 6, literature shows how society works around them. Also, it helps the readers to see the social and political acronym in the society. Number 7 is literature help the society to be critical thinking skills in the quest of analysis of and appreciate the different languages and to be better understand the importance of literature for the greater empathy in the society. Next, I will going to discuss the main division of and subdivisions of literature and the different literary genres. In the literature, we have two divisions, such as prose and poetry. Let me first differentiate prose and poetry. Prose refers to a literary work that is written and spoken within the common flow of language in sentences and paragraphs which gives information, while poetry refers to a literary works that express in verse, measure, rhythm, sound, and imaginative and creates an emotional responses. In prose, we have two subdivisions such as fiction and non-fiction. Fiction refers to literary work of imaginative narration, either oral or written. Under fiction subdivisions, we have 6 literary genres. First is legend. It is a prose fiction in which attempt to explain the origin of things, objects, and places. Second is short story composed of prose fiction, narrative depicting a simple characterization, and plot conveying a moral one which can be read by sitting. Third is novel, a very long prose narrative depicting complex characterization and plot which is divided into chapters. And fourth is novella, a long prose narrative but similar to both shorter than a novel but longer than a short story. Fifth is fable, a short prose fiction narrative depicting an animal characters. And sixth is parable, a short prose allegorical narrative which present a philosophical outlook in life. The second subdivision is nonfiction. Nonfiction refers to literary works of real life, narrations of exposition based on history and facts, theories, and generalizations under nonfiction. The second subdivision is nonfiction. Nonfiction refers to literary works of real life, narration of exposition based on history and fact, theories, and generalizations. Under nonfiction, also we have 6 literary genres. So first is biography, is a prose nonfiction detailing in the life of a person written by another person. Second is history, record of events that transpired in the past. Third is news, narrative of events that happens every day. Fourth is diary, is a personal account of significant events that happens in the life of persons. Fifth is anecdote, narrate, that depicts a single incident in person's life. Sixth is it is an easy formal treatment of an issue written from the personal point of view. The second division of literature is poetry. In poetry, there's 3 subdivisions such as narrative poetry, lyric poetry, and dramatic poetry. Narrative poetry is a subdivision of poetry in which tells the story. It may be long or epic, short or ballad. There are 3 types of genres in narrative. First is epic, depict to a heroic poem. Second is ballad, narrate a single incident of a person's life. Third is narrates or measured number of syllables. There are 2 popular variations of metrical in the Philippines, which are awit and corrido. Awit romance metrical tale of dodecasillabic recite during formal performance, while corrido is the martial and adventure of octosyllabic measure which is recited for recreational purposes. The next subdivision of poetry is lyric. Lyric is which features of rhyme is intended to be sung with the accompaniment of musical instruments. There are 5 types of lyrics poetry. First is a song lyric poem of various, them which is meant to be sung in its entirety. Second is a lyric poem of novella, an exalted emotion which has dignified countenance. Third is elegiac poem, sad them lamentation for the dead longing for a missing love. Fourth is sonnet, a lyric poem of 14 iambic pentameter lines usually about love and beautiful themes. is a lyric poem, celebrating the tranquil and beautiful landscapes of rural settings. The last subdivision of poetry is dramatic poetry. It talks about features of form that meant to be performed in the stage. There are also 5 types. First is tragedy dramatic rather. Poetry with features of hero whose hubris or shortcomings eventually causes in his downfall or defeat, often ending in the very sad conclusion. Second is similar to tragedy but expect to hero triumphs and overcome the odds. Third is melodrama, combination of elements of tragedy, an enemy that aims to elicit laughter. Fourth is force, is an exaggerated comedy. Fifth is social play dramatic, poetry in which tackles social issues and problems. Next is differentiate between literature and literature. Literature with a small I designates any written text we can talk about, and the literature on any given subjects without much difficulty. While literature with a capital L by contrast designates a much smaller set of texts, a subset of all the subjects of all the texts that have been written. And that's all. Thank you.